There is a presence, quiet, timeless, beyond shape and name, a presence that observes, not with eyes, but with the vast expanse of pure awareness itself. This presence is ancient, yet always fresh. It transcends time and space, untouched by form or story. It simply is. The eternal witness, the silent guardian. This is the presence of Babaji, the deathless master who exists beyond birth and death, beyond all time. You may not see him with your eyes, you may not hear his voice with your ears, but if you listen deeply, beneath the noise of thought, beneath the restless chatter of the mind, you will sense his watchful stillness quietly residing within your own heart. He is the silent observer of all that arises and fades away, a light that never dims, a calm that remains unshaken. In the deepest quiet, beyond words and concepts, rests a sacred space, the space of pure being. It is here, in this stillness, that Babaji's presence can be found, inviting the seeker to awaken, not through scriptures or teachings alone, but through the breath flowing silently in and out, the sacred rhythm of life itself. This breath holds a hidden wisdom, an ancient remembrance that awakens the soul. Let us journey beyond the veil of form, beyond the restless mind and fleeting feelings, to meet the eternal guide waiting within. Babaji, the voice of the timeless silence. Are you ready to listen? To hear the silent call echoing through the ages? A call that invites you home, to the boundless presence inside. Babaji is revered as the deathless master, a presence that transcends the limits of time, space, and form. He is not just a figure from history or legend, but a living, eternal force moving silently across the ages. Appearing to those whose hearts are open, Babaji bestows a gift, a sacred breath, a powerful key to awakening. This gift is called Kriya Yoga, an ancient science of conscious breathing and inner transformation. Yet, Kriya Yoga is much more than a technique. It is a living transmission, the very breath of the soul flowing through time, linking seeker to source, individual to infinite. Through this sacred breath, the restless mind begins to settle. The turbulent waves of emotion ease, and the seeker is drawn inward, into the vast, tranquil depths of inner stillness. This stillness is not emptiness. It is fullness, fullness of presence, light, and timeless awareness. For centuries, Babaji has passed this sacred breath to chosen seekers, those ready to receive the awakening. These seekers, touched by his presence, have been granted Kriya Diksha, the initiation into this ancient art of conscious living. But the lineage of Kriya Yoga is not about dogma, titles, or rank. It is about the unfolding of the individual soul's path, a sacred journey back to the true self, to the eternal light shining beyond all illusions. Babaji's teachings, often silent and subtle, resonate through time as a gentle call. A call to remember who we really are, not merely bodies or minds, but infinite beings of consciousness, woven into the universal current of life itself. To live with breath as your guide, free, calm, and connected to the divine source within. As you become aware of your own breath, may you feel the presence of this timeless master, the silent watcher inviting all seekers to awaken. Breathe deeply, and remember, Babaji's presence is intricately woven into the vast tapestry of universal wisdom, a wisdom that transcends time, culture, and creed, embracing the core teachings of all true spiritual masters. He is often associated with the consciousness of Krishna, Shiva, and Jesus Christ, three radiant beings whose lives and messages reflect varied aspects of the same eternal truth. Krishna, the divine lover and cosmic playful guide, embodies joy, devotion, and the sacred dance of life itself. His teachings invite us to surrender to the cosmic rhythm, to open our hearts fully to unconditional love, and to discover holiness in every breath, every moment. Krishna's story reminds us that awakening can be a celebration, a spontaneous dance of the soul expressing divine bliss. Through him, we learn the power of devotion, the surrender of ego, and the embrace of infinity. Shiva, the great ascetic and cosmic transformer, represents the strength of stillness, silence, and transcendence. Known as the Lord of Meditation, he calls seekers to journey deep within, to burn away illusions and attachments, and to rest serenely in the infinite void, the source from which all creation flows and returns. In Shiva, we witness the wisdom of detachment, the power in releasing form and ego, and the grace of abiding as pure awareness beyond change. Jesus Christ, the compassionate healer and light of the world, radiates unconditional love, forgiveness, and selfless service. His teachings inspire awakening of the divine spark within, calling us to embody mercy and compassion in all deeds, and to walk the path of humility, healing, and unity. Jesus reveals the transformative power of love to soothe pain, heal divisions, and open hearts to the presence of God within. Babaji's presence reflects the essence of all three: the love and joy of Krishna, the silent strength of Shiva, and the compassionate light of Jesus Christ. These great masters are not separate or conflicting, but eternal expressions of the one universal consciousness, the infinite, boundless awareness flowing through all life, uniting all beings as one. Babaji's teachings remind us that truth lies beyond all religion, culture, and separation. They call us to awaken to the sacred unity beneath existence, to remember the divine presence within ourselves, and to live as embodiments of love, peace, and freedom. This universal wisdom encourages us to move beyond identity, to honor every path leading to awakening, and to walk softly on the earth with open hearts and clear minds. It is an invitation to look beyond surface, beyond dogma and doctrine, to recognize the divine spark in every soul. Within this sacred flow, Babaji watches silently, the deathless master holding space for all seekers, guiding each soul toward awakening, to remember the eternal light within, and to live as the infinite breath of universal consciousness. May his presence inspire us to breathe deeply, to walk with kindness, and to awaken to the truth that we are all one, forever united in the timeless dance of the cosmos. In the vast silence of the Himalayas, where snow drifts softly like whispers from the heavens, a presence watches, unbound by time, unshaped by form, unconcerned with names. He is neither new nor old. He simply is. Babaji, the Deathless One, the quiet guardian of truth, the eternal teacher waiting patiently until a soul is ready to awaken. He does not seek followers. He sparks flames. And so, when the world dimmed, when breath grew shallow, when spirit slumbered beneath centuries of weight, he returned. Not to build a religion, not to command, but to breathe light back into humanity's soul. And for that, he chose one. Lahiri Mahashay. A man lost in the rhythms of daily life. A clerk, a husband, a father, nothing remarkable on the surface. But within, a quiet ember glowed, a deep longing for the divine. Babaji met him not in a palace, but in a cave, not amid noise, but in a silence louder than words. There, on the sacred Himalayan slopes, Babaji initiated him into the forgotten breath, Kriya Yoga, the science of returning to source through breath, stillness, and devotion. Lahiri did not flee the world. He returned to it, carrying the sacred within the ordinary. He taught yogis and businessmen, householders and monks, without rituals, without fame, with only silence, breath, and presence. He showed that God is not found by escape, but by awakening within life itself. From his quiet flame, others caught fire. One was Swami Sri Yukteswar Giri, cosmic mathematician, sage of clarity and wisdom. He studied stars and scriptures as maps of the soul's unfolding. For him, spirituality wasn't vague or sentimental. It was science, rhythm, cosmic order. He revealed the law of spiritual seasons, the rise and fall of yugas, and through his eyes, one glimpsed divine timing even in chaos. He spoke sparingly, but when he did, truth thundered loud. Then came the messenger, the one destined to carry this light westward. Paramahansa Yogananda, child of divine yearning, lion of boundless love. Guided by Babaji through inner realms, Yogananda brought India's voice to the world. He stood on American stages, in suits not robes, speaking of soul, silence, and self-realization. He spoke not of Hinduism, but of its universal truth. Not dogma, but awakening. Through him, Babaji's silent gaze reached millions, inspiring countless souls to breathe, to sit quietly, to remember. This is the sacred lineage, not of titles, not of temples, not of pride, but of inner transmission. A current flowing silently from soul to soul. It cannot be bought. It cannot be proven. It belongs to no single path. It appears when the heart is humble, the mind still, and the soul ready. Even now, Babaji watches, not from clouds or statues, but from behind your very breath. His presence dwells in the gap between thoughts, in the light behind your eyes, in the longing beyond words. When you are sincere, when you are ready to journey inward without fear, he may come. Not as a figure, but as a living realization. Lahiri still breathes in those who balance sacred in every day. Sri Yukteswar still whispers to those seeking cosmic clarity. Yogananda still walks beside those bringing divine truth into modern life. And Babaji, he is the thread beneath them all, invisible yet eternal. The flame was never lit, it was remembered, and now it flickers softly within you. Will you protect it? Will you nurture it? Will you let it grow into light? The lineage continues, not through blood, but through breath, not through belief, but through awakening, not in the past, but here and now, this moment. Not every journey begins with footsteps. Some start with a pause, a moment of stillness, a breath that suddenly feels sacred. The outside world urges us to chase titles, noise, achievements, perfection. But the inner path, it asks for surrender. Not surrender of your dreams, but of your distractions. Not surrender of your joy, but of your judgments. It invites you not to become someone else, but to remember who you truly are. Kriya Yoga is no religion. It carries no label. It is no quick fix for peace. It is a gentle science, a path of returning, guiding breath, stillness, and focused attention back to the core of your being. It is the art of inward revolution, not to flee the world, but to rise above ego's noise. Through it, you don't worship a distant God. You awaken the divine within. Every breath turns into a mantra. Each moment becomes a gateway. Each silence, a homecoming to the source. Kriya isn't about perfecting technique. It dissolves the illusion that you are separate from the infinite. It teaches you how to die, not physically, but to ego, so the soul may rise, clear, luminous, free. Walking this path, fireworks and fame won't appear. Answers may stay elusive, but peace you will find. You will sit in quiet while the world rushes past, realizing the true temple was always inside you. In Kriya's stillness, doubt's noise fades away. Desires lose their grip. The mirror clears. There, you meet your true self, not shaped by fear, but born from light. You don't need to join an order. You don't need to be flawless. You don't need to abandon your life. You only need willingness to listen, to breathe, to simply be present, even if only for one sincere moment. That alone opens the gate to the infinite within. So, the inner path is not a journey outward. It is a return to presence, to the sacred, untouchable awareness that lies beyond every thought. This is the essence of Kriya, not breath's movement, but the stillness it uncovers. You are not here to become enlightened. You are here to awaken to what has always been true. And in this awakening, Babaji watches, not to judge, but to guide, through silence, through breath, through the soul's subtle language. This path is not about escape, it is about arrival, not later, not someday, but now. Close your eyes and breathe. You are already home. They say some masters never truly leave. They don't move through the world in form, yet their presence flows like a quiet current beneath all life. Babaji is one such presence, timeless, deathless, beyond any story or measure of time. You don't need eyes to see him, nor faith to be guided. His presence is not loud. It is gentle, silent, attentive, like the space between your thoughts, like the pause between your breaths. He asks not for worship, but softly calls you to remember. He promises no miracles, only points to the one already unfolding, your awakening. Those on the inner path often speak of a presence that comes when the mind grows still enough. Some name it the higher self. Some call it God. Some have glimpsed the gaze of Babaji within that stillness. He is not here to lead you, but to remind you. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are simply waking up. As the ancient breath of Kriya moves through time, so flows his blessing, quiet, gentle, eternal, not to chain you to him, but to liberate you into your own truth. So if ever you sense something sacred stirring, a sudden clarity, a deep calm, a nameless joy that fills your being, know this: he is near, not beyond you, but in the silent space within. You are never alone, and you never have been. Babaji, the deathless master, the voice of the eternal, still watches. You've journeyed with breath, you've found stillness, you've caught glimpses of the eternal through the eyes of the masters, but above all, you have come back to yourself, from the silent Himalayan caves to the breath flowing within you now. One current runs deep, a current of remembrance, of wisdom, of love without division. Babaji, the deathless master, was never distant, not in space, not in time. He is not merely a figure of history. He is the heartbeat of the eternal that pulses beneath every awakening. When your breath slows, when your mind softens, when the world fades and you recall the self, Babaji is present. He is no possession, no idol to revere. He is the ever-present awareness to which you continually return. So, when this video ends, do not think the moment is over. Carry the stillness with you. Let the wisdom softly reverberate through the halls of your being. Let Babaji's timeless presence walk silently beside you. A gentle reminder that you are never alone, never separate, never without light. You are the path. You are the current. You are the flame that never fades. Return whenever you lose your way. And know, he is always here, in stillness, in silence, within you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for remembering. Thank you for returning to the eternal.